my channel is The Nelly J. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, and make sure that you share this video. Now let's get into it. First and foremost, I cannot make a video in the month of September without first addressing and saying happy PCOS Awareness Month. It is our time to shine. It is our time to spread awareness and share knowledge with other people so that they become aware, because knowledge is power. If you are one of my sisters who are afflicted with this condition, first and foremost, I love you. I thank you. I stand in solidarity with you. We are strong, we are inspiring, and just keep doing what you are doing. If you're an advocate and ally, don't necessarily have the condition, we love you as well. Thank you for just being with us, again, standing in solidarity with us, and just helping to destigmatize this condition. And lastly, if you don't have PCOS, you're not necessarily an advocate, we still appreciate your presence here. I don't know where this accent is coming from, but we still appreciate your presence. If you think you may have PCOS, I implore you, go visit a doctor, go visit your primary, an OBGYN, an endocrinologist, if you can get access to one off the rip, and ask questions. Tell them your concerns. Make your voice heard. You know what I mean? You may ask for them to do blood work, an ultrasound, get your thyroid tested. Sometimes those things kind of stand in alignment with one another. Ask about medications. Just make sure you get the help that you need, because PCOS can take a toll on you internally. Yeah, granted, my content is mostly about, you know, hirsutism and stuff like that, but hirsutism pales in comparison to what other things PCOS can, you know, make you pre-exposed to, I should say, for lack of a better term. And with that being said, know that this is not, having PCOS is like not the end of the world. I mean, I know that can probably be hard to, it's easier said than done. You know what I mean? Like when I was 16, when I first kind of suspected that I had it, or at least knew I had facial hair and didn't know why, like it felt like the end of the world, but it's really not. You can still have a fulfilling life. I love you, people love you, you know, don't let it just consume you. It consumed a lot of years of my life, and I'm not doing that shit no more, and you don't do it either. And that's on that. Get you a support system if you don't already have one. I have a Facebook group that is geared to being a support group for women who have PCOS. Granted, it's a little hard getting people to engage, but that's my fault, not theirs. Or if you don't want to be in a group setting, reach out to me personally. Like, I do respond to my DMs. Hit me up on Instagram, on Facebook. Facebook, hit me up, you know, because like I said, I know how important it was to have or need people who are like you, if you know what I mean. I'll put it in the description box below in case you are interested. So I do apologize for my absence. I've been dealing with some stuff privately, hence the name of the title is Cancer Scare. And that's not clickbait. I am gonna get all into it. I'm not gonna make it too long-winded, or at least I'm gonna try not to. But I was dealing with some stuff privately, and now I'm ready to discuss it with you guys. I've shared so many things with you guys, intimate parts of my life, so why hold back on this? So you guys know that I had shared everything on my TikTok and everything that, you know, kind of got a little notoriety regarding the struggles I have with hirsutism and PCOS. Well, one thing I didn't actually disclose or share was that I was also having some reproductive issues. More specifically, I have been bleeding. So it's now September 2021. I have been bleeding since February 2021. Yes, bleeding every single day. Initially, it wasn't a cause for concern because with me having PCOS, I tend to spot a lot, or spot in general between periods. So it wasn't like too concerning initially, but then I was taking notice that the color, the texture was just different from what I had seen historically. So it was a cause for concern. So I went ahead and went to the doctor. I scheduled a doctor's appointment with my OBGYN, who is top mother effing tier. He's amazing. He's top tier. He's the best, he's the best provider I've had in terms of an OBGYN, period. So shout out to him, he's amazing. I expressed my concerns, and you guys, like, it's crazy because even though, like, I know I had an inkling or inclination in my mind that I was gonna have to do a vaginal exam, I was not looking forward to it. I had never had a vaginal exam while I was menstruating. I'm sorry this is such intimate stuff, but it is what it is. We gotta get to the real deal. So I did not want to have an actual exam. I was thinking I could just tell him what's going on. He could send me to go get some medicine and, you know, life goes back to normal. But he was like, no, I need you to open your legs. I need you to let me see what's going on. So reluctantly, I had the vaginal exam. It was very quick, you know, they tested it like right there or whatever. I got results. No, I'm lying. They sent off whatever they had to send off to the lab, and then they, you know how OBGYNs are always begging for pee, so I gave them some pee. It didn't, you know, allude to anything that would tell them about what was going on with the bleeding. The only remark he made was that I had a perfect cervix, which I was like, of course, but he couldn't figure out where the bleeding was coming from, so he scheduled me to have blood work, and he also wanted me to go ahead and get I believe it's called a transvaginal ultrasound. So I left with my paperwork in tow, and I did the blood work, and I was not looking forward to doing the vaginal exam, specifically because I was still bleeding. And so he was like, well, just go when you stop bleeding. Are you not listening? Like I told you. Oh, he's like, oh. He was like, well, just go now. So I was like, oh my God. But when I went to go get my exam, I was petrified. But let me tell you, they made the experience, I'm assuming because it's where women would also go to get their ultrasounds if they're pregnant. So like the ambiance was like amazing. It was very peaceful. The lighting was perfect. Like I could have took a nap. Like it was just amazing. I was very surprised by that. And my tech, she was awesome too. She did say that when she was looking at my endometrium, which is like the lining of the uterus, she said for someone who's been bleeding every single day for the past like 8 months, or I'm sorry, for the last 6 months, that it was really thick. It was thicker than it should have been, you know? And so of course I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck is going on? So I went through with that, left or whatever, and then I had to wait for my follow-up appointment with my OBGYN like a week later, once they got the blood work back, and once they got the scraping back, and once they got the ultrasound back. So I had an appointment with him, and we discussed the reading. So the blood work didn't really reveal anything, neither did the scraping. So then he did discuss the ultrasound, and he said, well, you know, he mentioned the same thing that the tech did about it being very thick. And then he said, I want to schedule you for a biopsy to rule out cancer. Yeah. So I was at work when I had this phone call. It was not what I expected to hear. I kind of thought something would have given them an answer. You know, I didn't think I would have to do anything further. I mean, women bleed. It's not like an uncommon thing, or at least in my mind, I didn't think it was. So of course I got very upset. I mean, I got off the phone with him, and then I kind of isolated myself and, you know, had a moment to cry, because no one wants to talk to any doctor and hear the words cancer being, you know, projected to them. So I became upset, you know, and the only thing I could really think to do besides just crying was like, I got myself together and I just prayed, and I was like, God, like, this was not what I was expecting to hear or happen, and I trust you. I believe in a complete healing, and I just prayed, you know. That's all I could think to do. About a week later, I went to go see the surgeon. It was a surgeon who performed the biopsy. He took this really, really long, like, I don't know, this really long probe thing, and he, you know, and then he went through my cervix, and I mean, it really felt like he was doing like this. It was crazy, but he did his, you know, swirling action, and then, you know, he sent it off. But one thing I will say that he did, and I'm like, that's what I say, providers, like, there's just not enough that could be said about having a good support system in place when it comes to your providers who do your healthcare, who provide you with healthcare, because he was so encouraging. He was just like, I don't want you to worry about this. He was like, I'm sure it's nothing. And those are things that I needed to hear. Even if they turned out to not be true, it was something that I needed to hear at the moment, because I think he could see that I was upset, or at least concerned about what was going on with my, you know, stuff with my vagina. So that biopsy actually was kind of painful. It wasn't painful, it was uncomfortable. It was like a kind of a bit of a discomfort. And then he scheduled me for another appointment to have my results in about a week's time, week and a half, I think, because I did it on a Wednesday, and then the following Friday was when I actually was, you know, got my results. So, but at the time, after he did the biopsy, he talked to me and said, you know, a woman isn't really necessarily required to have a period every single month. At the very least bit, it needs to be every 3 months. So he gave me a couple of options. So option number one, to regulate my menses, because I wasn't having a regular period. I was just experiencing a lot of spotting, and the last 6 months, it had just been that daily bleeding, which did not resemble the spotting. It was darker in color. I told you guys, it was darker in color, it was darker, it was just different from anything that I had seen. So he suggested that I pick one of 3 types of birth control to regulate my cycle. And so the first one was a contraceptive implant, which goes underneath the arm. And yeah, I didn't want to do any type of implants, you know, no, that was a no for me. Personally, that's just a no for me. He also suggested the pill, which was also a no for me because I didn't want to take anything every single day. And I had been on birth control in the past, and it just didn't work well with me. So I didn't want to go down that route again. And then the last one is he suggested Provera, which is also known as Medroxyprogesterone. I hope I said that correctly. And so with that, you take it for 10 days. Then after 10 days, you start to bleed. So I ended up taking that. So he prescribed it that day. I started it that day. 10 days later, which actually landed on the same day when I had my appointment with him. And so I had another virtual appointment with this time this was with the surgeon. And so he said everything came back negative, and let me tell you guys, I was so relieved. But to be entirely honest with you, I'm so grateful that I prayed after I talked to my OBGYN, about 2 weeks prior to that whole situation, because it gave me immense peace. When I say God gave me immense peace to be able to kind of just be in the wait, and then up until the point when I talked to him, I already knew, like, whatever the result was going to be, I knew I had faith and I had God on my side. So I was overjoyed to hear that, you know, it wasn't cancer. So yeah, health is wealth, guys. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You are paying attention to what your body is trying to tell you. I could have just written this off as me just spotting, nothing to be a cause for concern, but if the endometrial wall, if you allow it to grow and not shed, then the chances of the cells that are growing can turn cancerous. That's why, in addition to those other factors, I had to go ahead and rule it out. And so I'm grateful that I did. I have an immense peace of mind. And so just make sure you're taking care of yourself. You know, we as women, we tend to put everyone else and everything else ahead of our own health and our own needs. Something like this, you want to make sure that you take the proper precautions and you do what you need to do to make sure that you are in good health and remain in good health. So that's it. That was my cancer scare. I came out victorious. I'm so grateful for the staff that helped me. I'm grateful to God for the results being negative. And so it was a wake-up call for myself to just make sure that I'm listening to my body and I'm taking care of myself. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If I didn't say so already, which I don't think I did, I am going to be putting up content every week, every Wednesday. So you're watching this, or this came out on a Wednesday, so you'll see another video up next Wednesday. But I appreciate all of you for just walking with me with this journey, supporting, you know, me supporting one another. Again, if you are looking for continuous support with women who have PCOS, join the Facebook group. It's in the description box. Also, you can reach out to me directly if you'd like. I do answer my DMs. Try to reach out to me on Instagram, the Burmy Beauty 85 Instagram page. And thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and share this video. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you have anything to add to the conversation, I'm all ears. And until next time, actually, until next week, I'll talk to you later. Peace.